Alrighty. Alrighty. So, oh man, I got these videos lined up. I got so many videos lined up. A chick's talking about how they lost, their relationship, and one guy talking about how he lost a friend. Two red pill content, like it's just killing these guys, or like guys are getting zombified and stuff like that. So listen, this is how it's about to go, and I'm gonna tell you something. Regardless how this shit turn out, you gonna see it. And the one thing I'm gonna try to do, the one thing that I'm gonna try to do is avoid wasting your time as far as the people who actually rock with the channel, view the channel. I don't give a fuck about no outsiders. So I got another video where I defended the red pill, and what I realized is people, there were a few people who made pretty, specific arguments and stuff like that, but some people were making straw man arguments and some people were making just vague statements and that was it. So listen, if I hear something that sounds good, sounds specific, then we gonna rock with it. You gonna see it. If I just hear, oh, just misogynistic, bitter, and if I just hear just buzzwords like that and no substance, like no, oh, he did this or he told me this, we not watching that. I'm gonna cut it short, and we just gonna get to the next video, man, because it's like I told you, I got a bunch lined up.
Where are all the women who lost their male partners to red pill content? Because I want to know what happened.
Yeah, I'm right here. I lost one of the loves of my life. One of my best friends, had known him over 20 years, since before we were born, to red pill content, and I want to talk about it today. I do think it's important to educate people and keep them aware of this. It was like a 5-10 year long process, so strap in. And I think one of the hardest parts wasn't accepting losing him, but having to accept that, like, this person, these ideologies were inside him the whole time. So his name was Jared. We grew up on streets near each other, and our families knew each other before we were born because we were all homeschooled. So obviously when we were little, I had a big old crush on him because he was the only boy my age I had ever spoken to, but he had no interest in me because he was a little kid. So for a lot of the middle years, he goes back into school. We don't talk. He's in the grade above me. But once we get into high school, we actually reconnect somehow, and I forget how, but I'm a total nerd in high school, and he is like a hockey jock. But he was always a really sweet kid. So for a while, I believed him when he swore his hockey friends must have stolen his phone in the locker room and sent this message to me on Snapchat that said, "Why don't you make yourself useful and send over a pic?" And when I was like, this is really random, like, this doesn't seem like even your verbiage, what's going on, dude? They blocked me on everything on his phone. So we didn't talk for several years after that, and I found it a little bit weird that, like, dude, we were talking every single day, and you didn't even think to look me up and notice I wasn't even in your phone anymore? But anyways, he gets dumped by a girl who absolutely shatters his heart on college, and we actually reconnect because we match on Tinder. And at this point, he is emo, right? He has all the bracelets, he listens to heavy metal, he is very atheist, he has a lot of Satan stars and whatnot.
And none of these things are red flags. None of them. You still went and rocked out. Okay, all right. You still accepted him. You still wanted to be with him. Okay. Even after seeing that, okay.
He is the furthest point in the universe from the typical red pill boy. So
What is a typical red pill boy? God-fearing? Now, I want you to notice that she said boy. That was deliberate. We're going to keep going.
when he's back in town, we actually go on some dates, and he gets really sick, so I bring him over some soup and, like, some cookies that my grandma, who I was living with at the time, homemade.
Wait, you didn't pray for him? You didn't have your grandma pray for him? You had your grandma make soup instead of a prayer? Like, you should have prayed for him. Should have prayed for the satanic atheist.
And we have some really cute, like, cuddling, watching TV, nothing else sort of dates. And it was just like old times. And then after that, he actually kind of rejects me by ghosting me a little bit, but he wants to remain friends. And I'm fine with that because we were friends our whole life. And the more I get to know about him in that point, the more I realize it's probably for the best, because he's in a lot of therapy at that point, which is very important, because he has such bad anxiety and depression and things like that, that he can't even leave his home to go out in public. And also, he's still obsessed with this girl who has blocked him on everything, and he won't tell me why. But one day he says he found her address and he wants to write her a letter because he thinks it'll be super duper romantic and win her back.
Now, to the people listening to this, do you see all the problems with this dude that she just completely accepts and just completely overlooks, and that aren't deal breakers, and everything is cool? Like, this cat is sacrificing goats in his backyard, and he's trying to talk to you, but he's obsessed with an old chick that he's stalking. But those aren't deal breakers. That's all fine. Everything is fine. She's overlooking all this stuff. Let's continue.
He had this tendency to do that, right? Like romanticize all of his actions when from the outside, like this girl has blocked you on everything. She has told you not to contact her, and now you're tracking down her address. And I tried to explain to him that that's kind of terrifying behavior, but I don't think he listened to me. I do think he sent the letter, and I don't think anything ever came of it. But at this point, he decides he needs to completely change his life. I think his therapist suggested getting into working out, which is the beginning of the slippery slope. So again, he's still in college, living mostly in his...
I'm not gonna lie. This chick gotta be a nut to say that after everything that she said. Him exercising is the most positive shit she has said that he has done other than going to college. And that's the beginning of the slippery slope.
Parents' basement. He's spending thousands of dollars now on gym equipment and getting really into working out. And watching like male motivational videos, to which I believe around this time too, he decides that he doesn't need to go to therapy anymore. And I was like, no, you still can't really leave your home, dude, and you have a lot of issues. Like, you definitely are not done with that. But again, he thinks that after like a short period of time, he's just completed therapy. And around this time, a couple of his friends ask how we reconnected too, because it's a question to ask. And I jokingly am like, well, we went on a couple dates and Jared rejected me, and he insists that never happened. Like, he refuses to, like, he denies it to his core that he ever rejected me. I was like, it's fine, it's funny, and I'm fine with it. But anyways, we're seeing other people, we're just friends. And around this time is when I met Basement Eric, the one who SA'd me and tried to kidnap me and keep me locked in his basement, right? So that caused...
Now, while that's very serious, what she just said, because she said it very lightheartedly, that is very serious. And I hate that she had to go through that. I got to be clear on that. Boy, does she know how to pick them. Let's keep going.
Causes a lot of damage, and my brain doesn't trust me to be around boys anymore. So eventually I have to explain to Jared like why I'm always sitting on the opposite side of the room or not really seeing him anymore. And he decides again in his brain, which he has made himself out to be a good person in the scenario and coming from a good place, that he can fix me actually. Because you just didn't get hugged enough as a child and you aren't shown the proper amount of affection. So he starts forcing me to like cuddle with him and hug him even when I tell him no and to stop. And from all the working out, he's becoming a very large man that I can't fight anymore. And so it's starting to get scary when he...
Yo, I have seen, like, I don't know if I've seen anybody react to this. Like, meaning I don't know if I've watched the full reaction. I seen the Anton Daniels episode. I'm going to flash it on the screen because I took a screenshot where they played just a small piece of this. I don't know if everybody else's reaction is like mine. I'm going to have to find somebody else to react to this because it's like, why are you sizing men that you were dating up? Why are you sizing men up? Now, the answer to that is going to be because somebody tried to keep her in the basement. But it's like, man, that's a bad, you got to point something out. You're damaged. You're damaged, and it's not your fault. You had an experience. And I'm just going based off what she's saying. It may be deeper than that. And to her, it might not even be that deep. But sizing up men as a woman to where you thinking, okay, I could fight him off as like that shouldn't be a normal thought process. It shouldn't. And I'm not trying to hear none of that bear versus wild, we're in the woods and a bear and a man, I'll go and run and hug the bear bullshit. I'm not trying to hear none of that shit. But this, right, everything about, I didn't listen to this before I got here, bro. I didn't know this was going to be this crazy. I didn't know. But this is crazy.
He doesn't listen to me. And he also starts making this frequent joke that we need to go out on like formal friend dates because like I just deserve to be loved and shown love, which again I believe came from a good place. But I was like, no, like I've been on real dates, like I've been on fine dates, it's fine, I've been on a good date before, like I love you dude, but you also still refuse to leave your home to go to most places, so it wouldn't work out anyways. So because his behavior towards me is actually making my issues worse at the time, I'm in a lot of intensive therapy myself for this, I have to distance myself or make sure that his other friends are around whenever we're hanging out because he doesn't do any of this stuff in front of his other friends. And an interesting note is now that he's moved home after college, instead of hanging out with his more left friends from college, he's just hanging out with his high school friends that all are on the right. And that starts to really speed up his change in behavior. And around this time, we're both dating and seeing other people, and he never really likes any of my partners, which is fair. I had a lot of duds. But the difference is every time I had a boyfriend, I really wanted to connect him with Jared. Like, I wanted them to be friends, because isn't that the goal? He finds a partner.
No.
I find a partner, you and your best friend, like we all live happily ever after together. But no, because whenever he got a girlfriend, I was never allowed to meet her, no matter how many times I begged and asked. And also every time he got a girlfriend, of course, she was blonde, my height, and he kind of stopped talking to me when he was dating them. Or at least he stopped forcing me to cuddle him all the time, which was a win for me. Also, the cuddling stuff started again shortly after I started hanging out with him more, but I was able to deal with it then because time had passed. He'd also slowly started using like alpha male, beta male lingo. Like he's hanging out with his gym friends 24/7. They have daily fitness, eating, they have everything mapped out on an Excel spreadsheet. They're constantly on the grind. He's he's leaning into alpha, beta, all that terminology. I'm starting to get increasingly worried. And then he gets a new girlfriend. And this girlfriend is super religious, super conservative, right? And all of a sudden, out of the blue, Jared suddenly is talking about being religious and going to church.
Listen. You can believe what you want to believe. I'm not going to, get on here and tell you that you need to believe what I believe in or anything like that. Everybody around the world believe in different stuff. To me, it's one thing to be atheist. It's a whole different thing to be satanic. How is that fine to you? How is that fine to you? But, him getting into religion as far as Christianity, which more than likely that's what it's going to be. Him getting into religion is a big red flag to you. Maybe she's a Satanist. I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. But even then, the whole thing about that is just like the foundation of that comes from Christianity. So it's like, what are we talking about? So this is like, it's like when you look at the guy, the way she's describing the guy, there are like tremendous red flags with the guy that are all okay. And the first positive thing that he does, as far as getting in the gym, that's a problem. Now he's religious. That's a problem. But when he was worshiping the devil, like that was all good. That was no red flags, no. Fam.
He's going and playing tennis and doing all these things that I've never heard of him doing before. And he's starting to say some of the concerning things he would just let slip when he was one-on-one with me out loud now. I remember our very last FaceTime. He FaceTimed me after he was playing tennis with his girlfriend. I was talking about a date I had gone on, but we didn't really click. And he starts going like, you need a beta male because you have like an alpha energy. See, I'm an alpha male, so I need like a beta housewife. It's like I'm just stunned by everything that's coming out of his mouth all of a sudden. And then at some point, I kind of must have made the comment that I was like a little bit concerned about all the conservatives and the things he's been hanging around for him to say this. And he utters the phrase, well, technically, like, voting conservative is the most alpha male thing you can do, right? Because, like, you're voting to suppress minorities and women. You're maintaining your seat at the top.
I need y'all to remember this moment. Put a pin in this. We just got to get through the rest of her story.
And in that singular moment, all hope in my body left, and I disconnected from the conversation entirely. Did not try to continue to engage. I just made a natural exit. Because also, sir, you are the furthest thing from an alpha male I've ever met. Like, you can barely leave the house, and now this girl has entirely changed your personality. And two, you are Asian. Now, you are half Asian, but if a white right male looked at you, he would say you are Asian. You are the minority that you are saying you're voting to suppress, sir. But I just let it go. I didn't say any of that because I knew in that moment he was too far gone. After that, I no longer took any of his texts and phone calls, and I finally reached out to one of his other girl friends to ask if he had ever done any of this to her, because he always insisted to me, like, cuddling and whatnot is just what friends do. Like, it's totally normal. She said that was weird. She said that she had never seen him act that way to her before. Like, I don't know why, but he was only doing this stuff to me. After I got that confirmation, I sat down and I wrote a thick Google Doc text to send to him, to be very clear as to why I am cutting communication with him. I am terrified of him. I am terrified of his behavior, the man he has grown into. I am disappointed. I lost my best friend and he's become this person
This fake crying just blew my shit.
I don't even recognize or feel safe around anymore. I have to just accept that that boy that I shared so much of my life with, that I loved, is completely gone. I'm never gonna get him back. And I think about him all the time. And I feel like a part of me is just gone. And I'm so sorry that I can't let you back. But if you see this, I love you. And I really hope that you get better. I apologize that I couldn't really finish the story, but luckily that's pretty much the end of it, and you guys finally found out, like, the one thing I can't talk about very easily. But also, look, I bought new plants, so yay, new plants, replace men with plants.
At the end of that, I'm convinced that this is a parody. I'm convinced that this is like she's a comedy account and this is like fake. I didn't do my due diligence. I don't think this is real. Let me go and check some shit real quick. Yo, she's not playing. She's for real. She is dead ass. Hope you find your dad is a screen name. That's crazy. But she's for real. She's not a comedian. She's not funny. Like none of her other videos, she funny. She talks about serious stuff. She's like, feminist, like just woke. And listen, I'm gonna tell y'all something in a moment, but just woke bullshit. A bunch of woke bullshit. And this is the thing, man. I'm gonna tell y'all, and this to the white people, man. I hate how y'all, especially conservatives, specifically conservatives, I hate how y'all hijack the word woke. That's really some black shit. And it doesn't mean what y'all made it mean, even though I just used it that way because it just highlights all the fucking goofery. But like, I hate how y'all took that word and remixed it. Let's get back to this chick, man. I'm gonna just keep it a bean. We not even gonna take long on the explanation because, boy, I got a lot of videos lined up. That was a good one, though. That was a good one. She cried and not one tear ran down her fucking face. Not one. Not one tear. If you look at that story, I'm gonna give it to you real simple. It's two fucking weirdos. It's two weirdos. Not one, but two. She doesn't know she's a weirdo. I try to be as respectful as possible when I do these videos, but it's like, you heard the stuff that I said, man. You heard the stuff that she overlooked. You heard the stuff that really began to make her angry, or not angry, but that began to set off red flags that she began to become apprehensive of. So, yeah, just that within her is one thing. But the other thing, when you look at Buddy, there was no point in the story where I thought he was a regular guy. There was no point in the story that I thought he was a regular, healthy brain functioning, normal dude. Every piece of his identity, every step of the way was nutty. It was nutty. But she accepted it each step of the way. And the reason that they get along so well, and she is willing to put on these fake tears, and we'll just pretend that she actually does miss him, he matches her weird. That's what it is. Like, listen, because I may be guilty to some extent, even though we reacted to that and I said what I said. I may be guilty to some extent of doing what I told these people not to do, as far as like, what I'm not going to tolerate in this video, which is just vague, like, oh man, he just turned into a misogynist. I need specific examples. She gave specific examples, so I'm going to tell you the specific weird shit. At the end, I told you to put a pin in him saying, voting for Trump is the best thing to do because it puts minorities down along with women and stuff. That's a complete weirdo train of thought. He's also self-hating because he's Asian and he thinks like that. And this is the issue with a lot of people who aren't black. A lot of people who aren't black identify as makeshift white people. White supremacy makes them think, yo, at the end of the day, at least we're not black. We're better than black people. And my skin is light enough for me to be considered white. And I am very shocked when, I'm discriminated against in some way. So that's weirdo shit. Being atheist, I said that's one thing. If you were atheist, that's one thing. But when you were a Satanist, to me, that's some weirdo shit. That's just me keeping it a being. Cuddling with your female best friend. That's weirdo shit. Him rejecting you, but saying that he didn't reject you, but you took it as rejection, yet he's in the friend zone and you don't want to date him. You don't want to date him. And he's trying to get you to go out on friend dates. There's some miscommunication there. But cuddling with your friend, your female friend, is weirdo shit. Especially when she doesn't want to fuck you. Especially like being in bed with her and she doesn't want to fuck with you. That's weirdo shit. Listen, I'm gonna keep it real with you, man. And I know a lot of people gonna hate this, man, but you need to stop it. You need to stop it. And this is me being real. Men who self-identify themselves verbally, out loud, in regular conversations as high-value males or alpha males. That's goofy shit. That's like, to me, that's like saying I'm a Super Saiyan. Like, that's like me running around saying, I'm a mutant. I know we're 20 minutes in, but I got to remind you, I am not red pill. I am defending the red pill today, but I am not red pill. I am in a manosphere. I went over in my other video and a bunch of other videos. Why not? We not going to get deep on it. But you didn't lose the guy you was fucking with to the red pill. He was just a weirdo. He was a weirdo the whole time. So once he got a hold of some other ideology, of course he was going to be weird with it because he was weird the whole time. And all it is you just didn't have a problem with all that other weird shit. Because that whole male and white supremacy shit he was on, like male supremacy and white supremacy, that's weirdo shit. The manosphere is not about male supremacy, neither is the red pill. So on to the next clip.
Where are all the women who lost their male partners to red pill content? Front and center, please.
I wouldn't say I lost him because I know exactly where he went.
We not about to watch this, and I'll show you why.
The man who I had initially gotten together with and married, suddenly he was allowed to say the quiet parts that he'd been thinking the whole time out loud.
And she didn't give one example, one story, nothing. Next.
Where are all the women who lost their male partners to red pill content?
I started experiencing this right when this red pill content started to kick off. Now, at the time, this happened when I was probably about 24, 25. I was dating this white guy who I had been with for a while before this had started happening. We were probably on year 4 or 5 of being together. At first, everything was okay, but it started becoming a problem in the relationship when he wouldn't get his affairs in order so that we could move forward in our relationship. And one of the goals that I wanted to achieve was us buying a house out in Ohio. Now, if you know anything about Ohio, one of the things that I really liked about it is that the housing market at that time was ripe for the picking, y'all. Like, you could get...
Don't care about no Ohio housing market. Let's get to the real shit.
Relationship. He started watching a lot of Ben Shapiro videos, which Ben Shapiro, I have no problems with him. There are some views that I feel like are just too far.
Ben Shapiro is a whole fucking dweeb.
Right, for me. And then there are other videos that I do actually agree with him a lot on. But the thing that scared me the most was when he started watching this black man on YouTube who was so negative and mean-spirited towards black women. Baby, I mean, calling us hair hats, saying we're the worst rearers of children, just all around, just negative. Most of his content were geared towards how terrible he feels black women are. Now, he wasn't nice towards most women, but black women, that was his main, it was like rage baiting. That was like the start of when rage baiting really became a thing. And I don't really remember what the YouTuber's name was, but he was this black man, and he would always call black women like hair hats and stuff like that. So if you remember that man on YouTube, I think he ended up getting demonetized and moving to Patreon. But my white boyfriend is watching this content constantly, all the time, every day, just constantly just feeding his mind with this. And it was weird to me because when we first started dating, he would tell me like black women are his preference. That's what he goes for. He does not date any other race of women. Like black women are his preference. And so it was just weird to me that, okay, black women are your preference, but you're sitting here listening to this man spew all this rage and hate towards black women. You would think that you wouldn't be his target audience.
Let me tell you something. We know that all races of women are sensitive. So just in general, women are sensitive for the most part. Black women are 2 times as sensitive as any other race of women, just by default. As far as the average black woman, you take the average white woman, like way more sensitive. And to be fair, it's because they not only have a unique set of circumstances, but they got some unique stuff going on. She mentioned a dude who says hair hats and stuff like that. She not talking about me because I don't say that. Just so if you thought she was talking about, oh, it could have been a dumper. No, I don't say hair hats. But I do criticize black women quite a bit, but I'm fair. Criticize white women as well, but no black woman would care about that. Like they wouldn't care. It's just the fact that you were talking about them, but you're not going to see white women come on my white women videos and be like, oh, I'm so offended. They don't give a fuck. They don't give anywhere near as much of a fuck as black women. But we not going to unpack that. We got to get back to this video, man, because I got a lot of shit to react to.
But what really scared me, or what really made me decide to leave the relationship, was one, I ended up finding out that his family, not his mom or immediate family, but his like aunts and uncles, they're the boomer generation. And I ended up finding out they were very, very racist.
What a surprise. Wow. And we'll go back and we'll talk about the white woman videos that I mentioned and stuff like that I make. I got one called The Dangers of White Women. And when it comes to black women dating white men, some of those things parallel. And that's one of the parallels. You have to worry about the person you were with being racist. You got to worry about their family being racist.
And he's now starting to project the stuff that he's watching on YouTube into our relationship. And y'all, I'm scared. Like, I'm getting scared because I've never experienced racism, especially in a relationship. I've never experienced that in my life. I live in Colorado, okay? They're very progressive out here. So the fact that I'm going through this in my relationship, y'all, I'm starting to get scared. I'm 1,200 miles away from my family. I'm taking care of everybody on my own. I'm starting to panic at this point. But I eventually did decide to go ahead and leave the relationship. Shout out to my homegirl, Kate, and her family, because without them letting me come stay with them for a couple of weeks, I probably would not have been able to get back home to Colorado. So shout out to Kate and her family, because they really saved me, and they let me save every day for 2 weeks straight. Her mom didn't charge me no rent. Gracious, but baby, I will never deal with anything like that. If you don't 100% love women or love black women, baby, I'm gone. And yeah, that was.
Hey, listen, don't ask no questions. If you made it this far, just put 2 numbers. 2 numbers. Just pick 2 numbers and put a percentage behind it and just comment that. If you made it this far, just do that. Just do that. Don't ask no questions. Just do that. But I need y'all to know I chopped that down something crazy because it was much longer. So basically, she's taking care of the guy, his mom, him, So she's taking care of a lot. You seen that she found out the family was racist and stuff like that. The reason I kept this, because she didn't really get specific about what he did, but she at least got specific that, as far as the videos that she was seeing him watch, the dude was saying hair hats and he was very disparaging to black women and, saying that they are the worst childbearers and stuff like that. So that was pretty specific. Now, what he was saying to her, I couldn't imagine being with a black woman and saying, yo, y'all the worst to bear children. Y'all, you got a hair hat on. Like, I can't imagine that. I can't imagine a white dude saying that to a black woman he with. So we don't know what he said specifically. So we can't really figure out much about him outside of the fact that he didn't have his shit together because she was taking care of him, and that he became a conservative and he was watching some black, red pill YouTuber or whatever. So the reason I left this in is because in at least two, matter of fact, all three of the videos, because the one chick that I cut all the stuff out of her stuff, like the second one, she mentioned Trump too. All of these guys that they are mentioning are white, right? And all of them are conservatives. So women feel the need to throw in to all of their stories that these guys, these white guys that they were dating, started to get really into conservative media or conservative, political figures or whatever. They feel the need to couple that with the red pill. See, I know the truth. I know most politics is bullshit, regardless who you vote for. And I know that because I'm black. Nobody's doing shit for us, no matter who we vote for. Fucking Biden said, yo, if you don't vote for us, you ain't black. Got in there and fucking wrote an Asian, to stop Asian hate bill. Because somebody got knocked out. He wrote to stop it, and then nothing happened for black people the rest of the fucking way. So when it comes down to it, most of the candidates who go in, they don't stand on anything. They lie a lot. We don't got to get into all of that. So I know most politics are bullshit. But I just thought it was very interesting that all of these stories, they couple the conservative shit with the red pill. The conservative shit is a problem, then the red pill shit is a problem. But and it's just white guys. But this is the other thing. With this story and the first story, there is more going on that's stronger than some fucking YouTube videos. There's more that's going on that ruin this relationship than some YouTube videos. I don't think it's fair to say that the red pill ruined their relationship, even though it's their experience, their story. If you were taking care of your man, right, and you're taking care of his mom, and his family is racist, I'm sure just those individually outweigh some fucking YouTube videos. And if what he said to you was so heinous, you would have said it verbatim. If it was that bad to where it was worse than the racism that his family has, and also worse than you taking care of him and his mom and all these dogs, 3 dogs, then you would have said it. That's just how I feel. We gonna keep it moving. Nah. Before we go, just imagine cutting your girl off or just getting rid of her because you caught her watching The Talk. You caught her watching The View. And guess what? If a chick hits you with one of those talking points, one of those female talking points, the misandry talking points, like, yo, you my roommate. You not my man. We paying 50-50. You my roommate. You would say that verbatim. Why? Because that is blatantly disrespectful, and it's not something to be tolerated. And if that's why y'all break up, that's going to be the story. Not, yeah, he started saying stuff to me and I ain't really feel it. But guess what? His family racist. Like, it's not going to be the story.
Where are all the women who lost their male partners to red pill content? Front and center, please.
Hey, yes, she is me and I am she. I've dated a red pill podcast guy, and when I tell you it damn near destroyed me, it is a disastrous thing in our community, and we really need to talk about it. Dating a guy in the beginning, it was nice. He was sweet, he was kind, he was generous, everything like that. But then he started to become aggressive, and that concerned me because he wasn't physically aggressive, but he was verbally aggressive. The tones that he used with me would actually scare me. And I told him, I laid it out like, I've never been talked to aggressively by a man. I've never been in an abusive relationship. My daddy never even talked to me aggressively. So I'm not going to accept that. And he changed for a little bit. But then he started watching those podcasts, which he then told me that he was watching. I suggested that he stop watching a podcast, delete, curate his own social media, stop watching a podcast and get therapy. Because what he would say things like, you got to be aggressive towards women. That's the only way that they gonna respect you. And I'm like, no, like, I respected you when I met you. And
What content creator says that? The thing about this, these chicks don't like the red pill, right? They don't like it. They don't like that their guys are consuming it. But they don't know the talking points. They don't know the specific talking points. The last chick, she had one where, the guy said, oh, black women are the worst to bear children. So she had that point. But as far as like this being aggressive stuff, like, who says that? Who says that? Nobody says that. And guess what? I want you to notice something. The dude was aggressive before she found out he was watching red pill stuff, or before he got into watching red pill stuff. Because she said he started watching that. He started watching that. So he was doing this before. Then he toned it down and then he picked it back up. He didn't get that from the red pill. This is the guy that you got with, who started off one way and then began to show his true colors as time went on. Let's continue.
Kindest and sweet as pie. Aggressiveness is scary for a woman, especially a big man using a negative tone towards a woman. That's terrifying. And he told me, I got to delete all these red pill podcasts. He's like, I didn't even know what it was. I thought it was just guys talking. I said, it's different types of podcasts. If they're not uplifting you, if they're telling you nothing but negativity, they're putting poison in your mind. If everything you see and hear is negativity, that's what you're going to see and feel. Negativity. You have to curate what you see in your life, especially being an older person. You need to know better. So I gave him 2 chances, and both chances he failed. And his thing also about dating an attractive woman. When we go out, I put myself on. I look good. I'm beautiful. I'm very charismatic, and that was what he loved about me. But watching the Red Pill podcast, his thing, he would make these weird statements about, oh, I know these men trying to talk to you and blah, 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 blah. I know you be going out on dates and blah, 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 blah. I'm working 3 hours away from home. And then he would say things like, oh, I know you probably messing with a dude down there, a woman as attractive as you. I know, like, these Red Pill podcasts would literally poison him and make.
I'm convinced that none of these chicks know anything about the red pill at all. Like, nothing. Literally nothing. This is what makes it so crazy to me, as far as what she's saying right now. The textbook default argument, when the man says you shouldn't wear this revealing clothing outside or something like that. The textbook arguments are 2 things. Number 1, oh, you're so insecure. Why are you insecure? That's the first one. The second argument is, this is my body. I do what I want. It's my choice and stuff like that. That first argument that I mentioned, why is she not saying that this man is insecure? Because the situation that I painted is not what's happening as far as him telling her what to wear. He's telling his girlfriend, oh, you out here dating other dudes. I know you da-da-da-da-da. When you start questioning chicks about other dudes, that's something you should never, like, unless you actually with this chick and you got a hunch that she is cheating, like something specific, and you seen something, you got some evidence, you shouldn't be speculating about no other man at any point. That is not red pill shit. Nobody taught him how to do that. Nobody taught him how to do that. Like, so what I'm saying is, that's insecurity. That's like, and I hate to say that, because you heard the scenario that I painted. And when women use that to gaslight men, as far as like making them think that what they are doing as far as going out to get attention and stuff like that, like it's okay to dress that revealing and you being with me. There's a rapper. I'm trying to remember who the rapper. It might have been Sada Baby or somebody. He left his girl because of that. He left his girl because she got on live and talked about that shit. It's one of them rappers. No, it wasn't him. I think it was Finesse 2 Times. I think that's who it was. But listen, this guy is insecure. Like, he's flat out insecure. Like, and you think that this insecurity is coming from the red pill. You think that insecure guys didn't exist before this. You think the red pill is instilling that insecurity in him. You won't even label it as insecurity. You were just acting. You don't like that he's watching a podcast. So what you do is you begin any behavior towards you that you don't like, that he begins to exhibit, you associate it with the red pill podcast. And see, this is what this video is it's showing you what ignorance does. This whole video is showing you what ignorance does. So really the red pill, I don't got to finish this, but we are. The red pill didn't ruin your relationship. The red pill gave you a filter to look at your man's actions through. Like that's with most of these. You seen that they were watching this content. You have a bias against this content. And now you begin to look at everything they do through this filter. And anything that you don't like that he does in relation to you, he got it from the red pill. And he's changing. Even though he was aggressive with her before, then he toned it down. And then he started being aggressive again. And she blamed that on the red pill. And even him saying, she said that he said, you got to be aggressive to women. Is it? Whose belief is that? I'm somebody who watches a lot of this content. Nobody is telling niggas to be aggressive with women. Like nobody.
Him think that I'm a woman that I was not. Okay, ladies, if your men are watching a red pill podcast, break up with them. They need therapy. That's poison. They are experiencing traumatic events on a daily basis and they don't even know. They're feeding their minds with poison and they don't even know. Dealing with a man who watches red pill podcasts or even participated in that type of stuff is terrifying, it's dangerous, and the relationship, when I tell you, it will age you. It will age you mentally. It will age you physically. It will stress you out. And it is not worth it. Leave that man alone. Okay? Oh. And then he lied and said he was going to therapy. Just leave.
And you see, she's a therapy nut. She's one of those, you hurt, go heal, go to therapy chicks. Like she think that therapy solve everything. And what I would like to know on a personal level, like what therapy has actually done to make her improve. But you notice at the end, she start fear mongering, saying it's dangerous and all of this stuff. Like, dangerous how? Nothing has happened to you. We all can agree that him being aggressive is not cool. And most of us can agree that he was insecure and he was projecting his insecurities and stuff like that. That has nothing to do with the red pill. And she's talking dangerous and all. And I'm not going to lie. Just her being so fixed on therapy, you need to curate your. She might be a nut herself. Just keeping it a being. It might not have even happened like that. But what I'm getting from these videos, I didn't watch any of these before I got into this. What I'm getting is these women don't know red pill content. The one that did was a black chick who was with the white guy and stuff like that, because she was actually hearing the content. And she mentioned some of the specific things that were said. But she didn't mention what was specifically said to her. And that's what I'm trying to get to the bottom of. And like when you see that this chick right here, she said what was specifically said to her. None of that is red pill. Like, what are we talking? Like, this is the issue as well. And I keep it a being. I'm not sparing no feelings. I understand it's supposed to be a brotherhood and we all supposed to be together. Some of these niggas is weirdos, bro. Some of these guys are weirdos. And it's not because the red pill or this or that. That's who these people is. But when it comes down to this again. Once they start watching that content and you find out that they are watching that content, you have such a strong bias against it that you begin to look at what they do through a filter. That's all this is. She has no idea what the red pill is just based on what she said in the video. Like, she didn't mention anything as far as any real red pill talking point. Let's get to the next video. I think this is the last one.
It's the red pill content, and it's now so officially widespread and unavoidable.
And the red pill can do damage to all kinds of relationships. This one I take personally because not only have I lost a lot of people I used to go to school with, but I lost a real good friend. And to just jump to the end, I don't know how to get someone like him back. This is a guy I went to college with. Big surprise, I was like Mr. Theater and TV. And
I'm here to tell you right now, We don't care.
Let me tell you something.
We don't care.
It was a good friendship, and he was the kind of guy who would fly all the way from Minnesota to California when my kids were born. And then 2020 hit. And suddenly his Facebook page was just filling up with just like crazy posts, almost all of them being a YouTube video of someone on the far alt-right. Just
Man, what the fuck did I tell you, man? What the fuck did I tell you, man?
just crazy stuff about the election, crazy stuff about COVID, crazy stuff about the BLM protests. You could see in his posts how he was getting further alienated from people that were either blocking him or just asking him to stop. Finally, on a couple of moments, I would just sit in Facebook Messenger because he refused to do a video chat and just try and break it down and come at him as a friend, as a journalist, as someone who had long seen the debunking of a lot of the things he was saying and just trying to listen and to see what was underneath it all. And nothing was getting through, and that was the heartbreaking part. But it was that same thing of like, you don't understand Elon or BLM and the communists and Marxism. And I finally had to call it off. He was just finally just pushing too many buttons, and I just had to stop.
Fam, what the fuck is he talking about? Tell us about how he hates bitches, man. Tell us about how he hates bitches.
Nation, we can't sit around and watch the red pill destroy institutions that they rely on too. We are so deeply divided. And if a good friend couldn't...
Yo, man, like that shit completely missed the mark. Completely missed the, like he has no idea what red pill is. And I'm gonna tell you the reason he's having these issues, right? It's a few reasons. As far as him not knowing what the red pill is. The first thing is the bullshit. The bullshit that they tell you. And listen, because I'm not red pill, like I don't care. I don't care. The bullshit the red pill people tell you is the red pill is just the truth. It could be anything. It could be politics. Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here. Every time you see that, when we look at the red pill space, and people who label themselves red pill, even channels that label themselves red pill, they are mostly centered around male to female content. Male to female content. Even when you Google red pill, this is one of the first results. So that's the first thing. People just blanket labeling it the truth. The second thing I'm not going to go into detail on. I'll just give you something real brief. But the second thing is the incel overlap. The radicalization of incels, as far as the picture the media paints of incels, that overlaps to the red pill. People don't really know as much about what the red pill is more than they know what an incel is, because incel has become a very popular term. And the thing you have to remember in the context of me talking about this guy not really getting it, it's a political term now. It's a political term. You'll hear the word incel on any of these news channels way before you hear the words red pill. That's just what it is. So that's in the, political zeitgeist as far as media and stuff like that. So that's the second thing. The overlap of incels onto the red pill, that's one of the main insults that they try to throw at anybody in the red pill community and stuff like that. The last thing, I blame Myron. I blame Myron and I blame Pearl. I blame those two people because they tried to radicalize and politicize the red pill space. These guys are messing with that weird, like just a bunch of weirdos, man. Like specifically alt-right figures like Nick Fuentes. And then I got to blame Sneeko as well, because Sneeko is the biggest grifter out of this whole fucking space. My goodness. I watched Sneeko since he was a boy. And he is just a chameleon. He just shape shifts, and he's back telling black people about the black community now. And bruh, He is thirsty for a buck at all times. He is thirsty for a buck. Bruh, this cat is a shapeshifter. He is Shang Tsung. Sneeko is never the same person or the same character for 3 years, bruh. Never. But without getting deep on that highly impressionable, clout chasing, grifter, money grabbing motherfucker, you know, when you look at Myron and Pearl, they did a lot of damage with that Nick Fuentes, and I forget who the other guy is, you know, just all of that shit. And then, bruh, they did a lot of damage with that as far as bringing those guys in on their platforms and on their podcasts and like really, you know, pushing those guys, because that begins to become synonymous with the red pill. And that is how come you see these people saying, yo, yeah, you know, because my best friend, he turned conservative, or my man, he turned conservative and he likes Trump now and the red pill. So that's all of that. But I'm going to end it on this note. This video was brought to you by ignorance. These people don't know what the red pill is. They don't know the talking points in the red pill. They had other stuff that were bigger issues than the red pill stuff. But they still choose to say that the red pill ended their relationship. These guys, a lot of these guys, were not following red pill principles. A lot of these guys were flat out fucking weird or insecure or whatever the case may be. So these chicks need to get some education. When it comes to this shit, they're not going to, because they just hate it. They just hear just one thing that they don't like, or they hear the bad rap that the space gets, and it is just off to the races. It is just bad, bad, bad. He is listening to misogyny. Oh my God, no, it's the worst. It's the worst. Telling guys to get a prenup is misogyny. Highlighting women saying that a man shouldn't have an umbrella because it's too sassy and feminine. Highlighting that is misogyny. Going against the different talking points that women have, like, oh, you got to unlock my submission. You got to provide so much for me to be, you know, a wife to you, or, you know, you got to put a ring on my finger for me to do wife things. And if we going 50-50, you my roommate, you know, I'm not dating no short kings. You got to make more than 500,000. Like, just all of that shit. I won't date a 9-to-5 guy. Like, us talking about all the ridiculous things, the problematic things the women say, like, that's misogyny. That's misogyny. Meanwhile, on The View, on national TV, in broad daylight, for everybody to see, they can get up there and have a whole segment on national TV saying that men are worthless, and unapologetically go about it, still have their careers, everything is great. You would be hard-pressed to find a red pill talking point that is widely shared, that is worse than men are useless and we could just do without men. Because nobody in the red pill is saying that. You got some people who are MGTOW and they're saying, listen, women can stay over there. I'm going to do my own thing. And that by itself, a guy not even doing nothing with you, just saying, I am done dating. And these are the guys that you don't want. You're not even trying to get at these guys, but it makes you mad that they don't want to empower you and give you attention. No, they just want to go their own way. They want to do their own thing. They're not out here trying to hate your guts or shit on you or keep you from getting a job and be a male supremacist or nothing. No. That's not what's happening. Just hearing that a guy wants to be a passport bro and go overseas to get a better woman that he could get in the States, that makes you mad. Even though they don't know you specifically, that makes you mad. That makes you mad. And the closest thing to the argument that they have, as far as, you know, the whole men are useless and stuff, the closest thing is the whole what do you bring to the table discussion. At least we give women a chance to say what they bring to the table. And just even asking that offends y'all. It offends y'all so deeply. And it makes us misogynists for asking. We know what we want. You want a million things. And that's how come the question is posed. But the one thing that we won't say is that women in mass are useless. Absolutely the fuck not. But we're the ones who hate y'all. On the contrary, misandry is widely accepted, and it happens all the time. And I'm going to end with a clip of Doechii saying some crazy nut shit.
This is a huge red flag for me. All right. You know what's so crazy? I was gonna say men.
If you didn't see it, the board says a straight man. A straight man is the biggest red flag for her. That is completely acceptable all throughout society. Nobody has a problem with it. She just got some Grammys. She's not going to get canceled. She's going to still go on these shows. She's going to do what she's going to do with no backlash. That is absolute top tier, high level misandry. But we get demonized for asking what you bring to the table. That is why this space is necessary. And that is why you guys are ignorant and full of shit. Ignorant and full of shit. I'm done.